गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, I'll just switch off this phone. In the last class, we were seeing the shloka number 100. That is, it was about Linga Sharira. Shankaracharya has in a regular way, in a very systematic way, he has been trying to analyze what is the body-mind complex, and he has told about the 5 pranas. He has told about the sthola sharira, that is a gross body, and he told about the subtle body. And then, while talking about the subtle body, we were reading this 100th shloka. In fact, almost we completed it. Sarva vyaprutikaranam lingamidam syat chidatmanah pumsaha. For that Chaitanya Swarupa, for that say supreme reality which is of the nature of consciousness, this particular thing is only an upadhi. This body-mind complex is just a small limiting adjunct. Just as you take the example given is the huge vast space. In that vast space, suppose I put some small cup, there is a cup space. This cup space is only, this cup, the so-called cup, is a sort of limiting adjunct, a sort of limiting factor for the say vast sky. So for the the vast in this is the infinite sky. So like that. So for that supreme reality, this is of the nature of a small upadhi, and only because of this upadhi, it becomes it is said to be doing this, that, etc. It becomes karta, bhokta, etc., etc. But otherwise, it is asangaha. Otherwise, it is actually asanga. Asanga means totally unattached. It is only because of the association with upadhi that it is called karta, bhokta, etc., etc. And then vasyadikamiva takshnaha. Takshan means a carpenter. Takshnaha is for a carpenter. Vasyadikamiva. Vasya means a small chisel or something like that, which is meant to carve a tool which is meant to carve the wood. So that sort of thing. For this say Atma also, it is somewhat like that. It is a sort of Linga Sharira. This is somewhat like an Upadhi. It is only when this Linga Sharira is there, it is only when the subtle body or this so-called Upadhi is there, only then Atma is called Karta Bhokta. If it is not there, it is actually Asanga. So that is what it means. We completed that, almost completed it in the last class. So we have to now read Shloka 101. So far, what did Shankaracharya say? He has described the Sthola Sharira, he has also described the Linga Sharira, and he also said the Atma is something which is Asanga. Asanga means something which is unattached by anything, unaffected by anything. And then the next shloka is to answer a sort of doubt. So if you say that Atma is Asanga, totally unattached, etc., how is it that I feel I am happy? This notion of I is what is Atma, the self. I feel I am happy, I am this, I am that. So like that, etc. I attribute so many things to me. What is that? What are all those things? I am stout, I am thin, I am happy, etc., etc. So what are they? He is explaining. Andhatva, mandatva, patutva dharmaha, saugunya vaigunya vashadhi chakshushaha, badhirya mukatva mukhas tathaiva, shrotradi dharma natu vetturatmanaha. Various aspects of the body, various things which are related with this body. That is andhatva. Andha means blind. Andhatva is blindness. Mandatva. In this blindness only, in this faculty of vision only, he is describing different levels. Andhatva is total blindness. Then mandatva, this is mild, say semi-blindness, let us say. Semi-blindness. And then patutva, strong vision. So the dharma means properties. Properties such as an eye has certain properties. The properties are you have a strong vision, or you have got a slightly weak vision, or a particular person is totally blind. So these 3 levels we say Andhatva, Mandatva, Patutva Dharmaha. So these things they are because of Saugunya Vaigunya Vashadhi Chakshushaha. Chakshushaha means of the eye. Chakshushaha is Saptami Ekavachana, sorry, Shashti Ekavachanam. That is of the eye. It is only because of Saugunya Vashad, Vaigunya Vashad. Saugunya means which is quite good in shape. Saugunyam, Su plus Guna, Suguna. Sugunasya bhavaha Saugunyam, isn't it? So that is, it is in fine shape, let us say. Saugunyam is its fine shape. Vaigunyam is it is not in such a fine shape, it is in a slightly bad shape. So all these things like the faculties of the eye, with so many differences like Andhatva, Mandatva, etc., they are because of say the goodness or badness, the good shape or bad shape of the eye. Then similarly, Badhiriya, Mukatva, etc., etc., for all other senses also it is like that. It is only because of the organ, sense organ, it is like that. It has nothing to do with Atma. It is nothing to do with Atma. It is not the Atma which is blind. It is not the Atma which is deaf. It is not the Atma which is say lame or something like or fat or lean, etc. So Badhiriya, Mukatva Mukhaha. Badhiriya, Badhira means deaf. Badhiriya means deafness. Mukatva, dumbness. Muka is dumb. Mukatva. Mukhaha, Mukha means etc. Mukatva Mukhaha. Tathaiva means likewise. Shrotradi dharmaha natu vetturatmanaha. These are all the properties of this Shrotra, etc. These are all the properties of the instruments called the Shrotra, etc. Shrotra is the sense of ear, etc. Natu, but not of Vettuhu Atmanaha. Vettuhu Atmanaha. Vetta. Vetta is the word. Vettuhu is Shashti Ekavachanam. Vettuhu Atmanaha. It is not, they do not belong to Atma, who is the knower. Vetta. Vetta is what? Knower. Vetti iti Vetta. So that is Vettuhu is Shashti Ekavachanam. Possessive case, singular. So that is Vettuhu Atmanaha. So these are the properties of the body-mind complex and not of the Atma. Similarly, the next sloka also is continuing various other physical activities. All other physical activities, they are the activities because they are related to the prana, the vital force, the life energy as we call it, the energy body. Number one is Anna Kosha. Number two is the vital, this energy Kosha. The gross body is Annamaya Kosha. The next Kosha, the next level is that Pranamaya Kosha, that energy level Kosha. So now we are talking about the energy level Kosha in the next shloka. Uchvasa, Nishvasa, Vijrumbhana, Chut, Praspandanadyutkramanadika kriyaha, Pranadikarmani vadanti tajnyaha, Pranasya dharma vashana pipase. So again, Pranasya dharma. We know that prana is that what is called Sutratma, Hiranyagarbha, etc., etc. We have seen that about a great discussion about prana in Prashnopanishad and other Upanishads. So prana here is not referring to Hiranyagarbha only. It is referring to this prana, this vital force, as it is, this vital force in the form of the air, which is in the form of air. And then this prana we have seen earlier also that it is Panchadha Vibhakta. It is divided fivefold and then doing fivefold functions in the body. We have seen in an earlier shloka. So that is prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, etc. This fivefold activity goes on in the body. And then how he is now describing the functions of this thing. Uchvasa, Nishvasa. Uchvasa is inhalation. Nishvasa is exhalation. Uchvasa and Nishvasa, there is some little bit of energy which is required. So this one. And then Vijrumbhana. Vijrumbhana means yawning. Vijrumbhana, you say this word also is used, say Vijrumbhate. Vijrumbhate means if a person with great valor and vigor, he goes out somewhere on somebody. So that is Vijrumbhate. So, but here Vijrumbhanam is not that. Vijrumbhanam is different. Vijrumbhate, that in a different sense, it is different. Vijrumbhanam is yawning. Vijrumbhana. Kshut. Kshut means hunger. Pipasa. Of course, Pipasa is not mentioned here. Shut. Praspandana. Praspandana means movement. Spandana. Spandana is spandate. Spandadhatu, the meaning is movement. Any type of movement. Praspandana means brisk movement, let us say. Brisk movement. Praspandana. Adi. Adi means etc. Then Utkramanadika kriyaha. Utkramanam, we have come across this word Utkramanam. Utkramanam is, what is it? That is leaving the body. That Udana Vayu is supposed to be responsible for taking the Linga Sharira, it is supposed to be a sort of courier which takes the Linga Sharira from one body to another body. So this Linga Sharira, it is there. After the physical body decays, the Linga Sharira goes and enters some other body. For that, this prana called courier, called Udana Vayu, say one of the aspects of Prana Vayu only, one of the, we can say one of the forms of Prana Vayu, let us say. That Udana Vayu is supposed to be the courier which takes it to some other body. So, Utkramanadika Kriyaha. The Kriyaha means all types of activities such as this Utkramanam, etc., etc. All these things, they are Pranadi Karmani Vadanti Tajñaha. Tajñaha means the people who know it. Tat plus Jna. Tajñaha. So, in North India, this word is used quite frequently for an expert. Suppose you go to a hospital, or rather even a university. You mentioned here specialist. For the word specialist, you see a board, Tajñaha. So Tajñaha means a specialist. Actually, it is such a beautiful word, I was surprised to see there. Tajñaha, Tat plus Jnaha, Tajñaha, Tajñaha. So Tajñaha means wise people, the people who know it. What do they say? That all these things are Pranadi Karmani, Pranasya Dharmau Ashana Pipase. In fact, these two dharma, the two properties called Ashana and Pipasa. Ashana means eating. Pipasa is thirst, hunger and thirst. These are the Pranasya Dharma Hayeva. Because we have seen in Prashnopanishad also, this eating and eating, eater and the eaten. The whole universe is seen in the two say forms. That is, one is the eater and the other is eaten. Raihi Pranancha. So that is what we saw. So like that, this Ashana Pipase, they are the Prana Dharma. Then now he is coming to what is called this ego, the self, what is called ahankara. We have seen this manaha, buddhihi, ahankara and chittam, isn't it? So we are now coming to see what exactly is this ahankara. So the next is 103 shloka. Antahkaranameteshu chakshuradishu varshmani ahamityabhimanena tishtatyabhasa tejasa. Eteshu means in these things. Eteshu, in what things? This Stula Sharira, then Linga Sharira, etc. Prana also, Stula Sharira, Linga Sharira and also Prana, all these activities related to the whole thing. This Antahkaranam, now when we say Antahkaranam, we are referring to that fourfold. The Antahkaranam is a word in which all the four fit in. Manaha, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta, all four fit in this say Antahkarana. So this Antahkarana, one of the faculties, one of the aspects of Antahkarana is being described here. Antahkaranam yeteshu, in all these things, chakshuradishu, that is in all the sense organs, in the body, in the prana, etc. Varshmani, Varshma means body. Varshma means the physical body. Varshmani means in the body, in the sense organs, in the body. So in what does it do? This Antahkaranam, aham ityabhimanena tisthati. So it stays. Tisthati means it stays. What? With what? Aham ityabhimanena. I am this. So when I say I refer to this body-mind complex. Aham ityabhimanena. Abhimana means what? That is sense of identity. Abhimana is sense of identity, inseparability, oneness. So that is abhimana, that sense, ahamitya abhimanena tishtati. Then abhasa tejasa, this is important. So here he says, this tejas is something which is not its own. This is abhasa tejasa. Because we know what Vedanta says. What does it say? It says that Chaitanya or Shuddha Chaitanya is something, it is not a product of the mind. You see, Buddhists or the logicians, even not only Buddhists, even among us, among the Veda, among the say Astika Darshanas, the logicians they say that intelligence is something which is a product of the mind. Vedanta says intelligence or Chaitanya is something which is not a product, it is always there. Because if Chaitanyam is produced, then some other person should be there to know that Chaitanya is produced, isn't it? Some other thing which recognizes it is also Chaitanya Swarupa. So for that, suppose that is also produced, somebody else should be there to recognize that. So Chaitanyam is something which is something which is ever existent, which is always there. It has no birth and it has no death. It is only the body-mind complex which comes and goes, but Chaitanya is always there. So Chaitanya is what gets reflected in the mind. That is what Vedanta says. Vedanta, this mind is a sort of great receptacle. It is a sort of fine reflecting medium. The body of course is a very gross thing. The body is not able to reflect that Atma Chaitanya. It is the mind which is that subtle material. It is called Atyacha Virala Taijasa Dravyam Manaha. There is a definition for mind in Vedanta Paribhasha. Vedanta Paribhasha of Dharmaraja Adhwari. Yeah, Vedanta Paribhasha in that. Yeah, Vedanta, Dharmaraja Adhwari only. So in that, this definition is there. Atyacha Virala Taijasa Dravyam. It is such a pure Taijasa, very highly energetic medium in which that Atma Chaitanya gets reflected. So it is such a pure medium. So in that, Abhasa Teja. This is Abhasa. Abhasa means it is a sort of reflection. Abhasa, just an appearance. It is just a reflection. So Antahkaranam is the medium in which that Chaitanya gets reflected. That is what we see in Vedanta. Then this Aham Abhimanam. We are referring to this Aham Abhimanam in the next shloka. Ahamitya Abhimanena Tishtati. It stays with that Abhimana, with that sense of identity, with this body-mind complex. So what is that? That which stays, that portion of Antahkarana which stays, or rather that aspect of Antahkarana which stays with the body-mind complex with the notion of I, that particular aspect is called Ahankara. So that is what next shloka says. Ahankarassa Vigneyaha Karta Bhokta Abhimanyayam Satvadi Guna Yogena Cha Avasthatrayamashnute. Your book, there is a slight difference in that Cha Avasthatraya instead of Cha Avasthatraya. Your book says Satvadi Guna Yogena Avasthatritayam. One and the same. He has broken it here, Yogena. There, Yogena Avasthatritayam Uchyate, because the Chandas has to fit there also. Here again it is slightly different, but meaning is same. So Ahankaraha Savigneyaha. Saha. What is that Saha? Saha is referring to the earlier shloka. The earlier shloka, Ahamityabhimanena yaha tishtati. We are referring to that. That particular aspect of Antahkarana which identifies with this body-mind complex and then which says I. That is what is called Ahankara. Saha Ahankaraha Vigneyaha. That Antahkarana has to be known as Ahankara. That particular aspect. Then that is what is Karta, Bhokta, Abhimani. Abhimani. It is having that sense of identification, sense of say oneness. I am that Karta, I am the Bhokta. So in that sense it is having that Abhimana. Then the second line, Satvadi Guna Yogena Cha Avasthatrayam Ashnute. Avasthatrayam is the same as Tritayam. Tritayam is three. Trayam also is three. So Avasthatrayam Ashnute. It attains. Ashnute means it attains. What? Avasthatrayam. These three states. What are these three states? Jagrad, Swapna and Sushupti. That is wakefulness, dream and deep sleep. So by virtue of what? Satvadi Guna Yogena. That is because of association with the three gunas called Sattva, Rajas and Tamo Guna. Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna. So here of course this, our Swami Chandrasekhara Bharati has explained what exactly is Satvadi Guna Yoga. So because of Sattva Guna, I am following that Chandrasekhara Bharati Swamiji's commentary all through. So there he says, this Sattva Guna is responsible for sleep, dream. Sattva Guna is responsible for dream, because first let us talk about this gross body. First, if we talk about the gross body, wakeful state. Let us talk about the wakeful state first. So in this wakeful state, what do? We transact all our business in the wakeful state only. All our activities in the wakeful state, we briskly move, go to office, we do this, that, etc., etc. There is so much of activity of the mind, activity of the body. Activity, what does it symbolize? What is it due to? It is due to Rajoguna. It is not due to Sattvaguna. Activity is not due to Sattvaguna. It is due to Rajoguna. So this wakeful state, association with association with Rajoguna is responsible for this wakeful state. Then association with Sattvaguna. Sattva, where all this Rajas activity is subdued. Activity is subdued, but the mind is active. Sattvaguna, in that sense, the mind is active, but the physical activity, all this energy is subdued. So that is how Association with Sattva Guna is said to be responsible for the dream state. And association, naturally, the third one is association with the Tamoguna is responsible for Sushupti state. Though in Sushupti the enjoyment is supposed to be something on par with Brahmananda, it is because of association with this Tamoguna. And with that Tamoguna, when it is not there, it is Shuddha Chaitanya Prakasha only. If that Chaitanya Prakasha, Tamoguna, it is not associated, and that happens only after realization. That happens only after realization that the man is perfectly awake and he is enjoying the say Brahmananda. So that is a different state. We will come to that anyway. Right now it is enough if we follow if we understand that this association with these three gunas is responsible for the three states in a human being. Maybe in all animals also, we do not know. Then the next shloka says about Sukhi Dukhi. I am happy, I am sad, etc., etc. Are they properties of Atma? Are they the properties of the self? This shloka says they are not the properties of the self, they are the properties of the Antahkarana only. So, Vishayanam anukulye sukhi dukhi vipariyeye sukham dukkhancha taddharmaha sadanandasya natmanaha. So, Vishayanam anukulye sukhi. A person calls himself Sukhi. I am a happy man. So, when Vishayanam anukulye sati. Vishayanam anukulye sati. When all the things are favorable to you. Vishaya means things, objects. When all the things are favorable to you. Anukulyam. Anukulyam is favorableness. That is, when all the things are, say, falling in place according to your scheme, then you are happy. Then Dukhi viparyeye. If it goes opposite to your, say, expectation or your desires, you are Dukhi. So Sukha, Dukkha is basically depending on our own desire. So you desire something, you get it, you are happy. If you don't get it, you are unhappy. So that is what it means. Vishayanam anukulye sukhi dukhi viparyeye. Then you got it or not?
Yes.
Sukham dukkhancha taddharmaha. Sukham and dukkham taddharmaha. Tat means, here we are referring to Antahkarana. Taddharmaha, the property of Antahkarana. Sadanandasya na atmanaha. Na atmanaha sadanandasya. So that is the Anvaya. It is not the property of Atma, which is Sada Ananda. Sada Ananda we have to split there. Sada, two avagrahas. Because Sada itself is Akarantam. Ananda is again A. So Sadananda, in that word Sadananda, you can have two avagraha actually. Sadanandasya Atmana. Sada Anandasya Atmana. That is, this Atma is always of the nature of, it is of its very nature of bliss. So that is what we see in Vedanta. That is, self is something which is of the nature of pure bliss. Then the next, we are now coming to a slightly important, say, discussion about our human, say, bonds and their reality or unreality. The human bonds like, I love my wife, I love my parents, I love my children, I love this, I love that. What is the nature of love? Do I love them for their sake or do I love them for my sake? So that is the point. So here he says, Atmarthatvena hi preyan vishayo na swatah priyah swata eva hi sarvesham atma priyatamo yatah tata atma sadanando nasya dukkham kadachana. So your book has split it at 2 lines or 3 lines? 2 lines. So my book, this is Ramakrishna Mission edition, it is splitting at 3 lines.
Next shloka.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Connection is same. Atmarthatvena hi preyan vishayo na swatah priyah. Vishayaha means any sense object. Any sense object means it can be some water bottle, it can be my pen, it can be my cell phone, it can be my wife, it can be my father, my mother, my children, everything. All these things are Vishayas, isn't it? Vishaya doesn't mean inanimate objects. Vishaya means all things with which we come into contact, including my body. That is also a Vishaya, because that is also Kshetram we are going to see. So all these Vishayas, why do we love them? It is because they give them some happiness. It is because they give them some happiness. They give us some happiness. If they don't give us happiness, you don't even love your father or mother, you don't love your son, Your son, suppose he doesn't behave according to your expectation, then you will say, get out. Then the son does the same thing for the father. So, if the father is, it is uncomfortable for him, he says, okay, please, old man, go and join an old age home. So, that is what he will say. So, Atmarthatvena hi preyan. Preyan means dear. Atmarthatvena. Because it is of use to you. Because it is of use to your own self. Atmartha. Artha here means prayojana. Prayojana means usefulness. Because of its usefulness for the self. Atmarthatva means because of the usefulness for the self only. Vishayaha preyan. An object is something which is preyan. Preyan means dear. Na swataha priyaha. Not by itself. It is not dear by itself. The most common example given is, say, a cup of coffee. You find a nice cup of some Starbucks coffee or very excellent coffee you get. So after that, you take two cups or you are satiated. Third, fourth, fifth cup, if you are forced to drink, it is a punishment for you. So that is how some people, they do interrogation also. Interrogation of suspects is done by giving them too much of food or too much of drink. So this is one way. So, na swatah priyaha. It is not something which is, say, dear by itself. Priyaha means dear. It is not something which is dear by itself. It is dear because it is pleasing you for the moment. So, this ananda which we derive from objects is a little bit of ananda. There is no doubt there is some ananda. But that is some little bit only. And that particular momentary ananda is also a glimpse of that Brahmananda only. That Brahmananda is something which is always there, eternally there. But this thing which we get, ananda which we derive from objects, is something which is a small glimpse of that. So here, of course, we have to refer to these lines are actually almost from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a passage called Maitreyi Brahmana. In that Maitreyi Brahmana, we have come across it one or two times earlier also in the Upanishad Bhashyams, we have come across this thing. So there is a great sage called Yajnavalkya, and that Yajnavalkya, for a long time, he has, in Janaka's court, King Janaka's court, he was holding discussions, debates with so many scholars and all that. He was winning all laurels there, and then he was the foremost among the, say, Jnanis of that time. And then, he had lot many students also. He was called a Mahashala. Mahashala means thousands and thousands of students he produced. So, such a person. So, after some time, he wants to take up sannyasa, because in those days, the final, step was sannyasa. You go from Brahmacharya ashrama, from Brahmacharya you do Grihastha ashrama, you perform all dharma, because you can't straight away, if somebody straight away takes up sannyasa, who will take care of the society? So, that Grihastha ashrama was very important. If all the people become, sannyasis, if all the people go about with a begging bowl, who is going to give them food? So, that was rather kept in abeyance for some time. You are supposed to follow dharma for some time. You are supposed to take a wife, you are supposed to beget children, you are supposed to do all rituals, etc. Be a role model for all others, encourage people to do some good work. All these things we are supposed to do. And then, after some time, you come to Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is a stage where you slowly reduce the intensity of all these things and then think on the self. But for Yajnavalkya, all that was not needed, because he was already a very great scholar. He was a jnani, to speak the truth. But then technically he was still having a wife, etc. Maybe children, we do not know. He had two wives. So then he called his one wife and then said, okay, my dear wife, I want to take up sannyasa. I will now dispose of my property by dividing between you two wives. So the wife Maitreyi and some other wife, some Katyayani, your relationship is only because of marriage to me. So that relationship will come to an end. Now I am going to distribute the property. So that is what he says. Then Maitreyi was an intelligent lady. She was also to some extent deeply into this. And then she asks him, no, with all this wealth which you are going to give me, am I going to get eternal happiness? Then this man says, oh, you have put the right question. I like it. So with all this thing, you are not going to be happy eternally. Happiness is there only by realizing it, the Atma, because Atma is one thing which is dearest to all. So that is the statement there. Atma is something which is dearest to all. You love me because, not that you love me for myself, you love me because of yourself. So there is something, a sort of demolishing all our notions about love and affection. So this, of course, this is something which cannot be liked by the romantic poets or romantic lovers. If we go to Romeo and Juliet, if you say this, they will not agree. But here you are not loving me. Navare patyuh kamaya patih priyo bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya patih priyo bhavati. That is, a husband is dear to a wife not because she loves the husband as himself, but because he is useful to her. Atmanastu kamaya patih priyo bhavati. Same is the case with, same is true for husband also. Navare something, sati, patni. Say for her sake you are not loving her, you are loving her for your sake. Say similarly you are loving your father, similarly you are loving your son, similarly you are loving an ideal. Suppose you are a Democrat or a Republican or a congressman or a BJP man or something like that. You are loving it for yourself and not for itself. You think that you are doing something great, and then by doing it you are happy. You feel that this is what is the ideal thing. And because you think that that is an ideal thing, you are loving your ideal, and you are not loving that for itself, but you are loving it for yourself. Every action we do is for our own happiness. The fact that I am sitting here and trying to teach Viveka Chudamani is for my own happiness. That somebody will listen, and then I think that I am doing a great job by say teaching this thing and then enabling somebody to read it, enabling somebody to know it, etc., etc. This is my notion. It is giving me some happiness. So Atmanastu kamaya Viveka Chudamani patha prachalati. Then maybe you are sitting here for your own happiness. Yeah, I am studying this Viveka Chudamani, written by a very great man called Shankaracharya. So okay, you are listening to that. So every activity we do is only because of ourselves. That Vishaya is something which is pleasing us. So that is the reason why you like that Vishaya. So that is the basic point which is mentioned here. Even a terrorist, if you see, terrorist also undertakes terrorism only Atmanastu kamaya. That is, he thinks that he has got a vision of a brave new world. So he thinks that by doing this I am going to create a great world, and then by that the people will be happy, and I am responsible for that. I am a small samidha for that. People will say, all this revolutionary poetry if you read, so for this revolution you become a small faggot, it says. Nenu saitam samidhanayanu, it says. I became a faggot, small faggot in this great yajna, this revolution, this yajna called revolution. So like that, a revolutionary feels like that. A person who commits a suicide bomber also feels like that. A person who commits ordinary suicide, he also commits suicide only for happiness. Because by committing suicide, I will be very happy. I am putting an end to this miserable existence. So that is what a person would feel. So like that, whatever we do is only for, say, our own happiness. So that is what he says. And finally he says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Everything becomes dear only because it is of some use to you, it is pleasing your ego, it is bringing some little bit of happiness to you. So that is what it says. Atmarthatvena, because it is pleasing. So it is then why is it so? If it were to be dear by itself, if something is dear by itself, it has to be dear at all times. If coffee is supposed to be dear by itself, it has to be dear at all times. It is not so. So that is what is the second in the second point. Na swatah priyah. By itself it is not so. By itself something is not very dear. Swatayeva hi sarvesham atma priyatamo yataha. Yataha means because sarvesham, for all the people, atma priyatamaha. It is the most dear or dearest. It is the dearest. Atma is the dearest for everybody. Swatayeva. Swatayeva means by itself. A Vishaya, I like it because it pleases me, not because by itself it is not dear. But Atma is something by itself. Because there is nothing beyond this. It is something Niratishaya Prema, as we say. Niratishaya Prema means the prema which is something which is, by itself and in at most prema in that only. So that is what is that, Niratishaya Prema. Tata Atma Sadanando Nasya Dukkham Kadachana. Tata means Rataha, that Visarga Lopa, Tataha Atma sada anandaha. Atma is always anandaha. Na asya dukkham kadachana. It doesn't have dukkha at any point of time. Then any point here that Swamiji notes one or two more points. That Swamiji says, what is what is it that is most loved by us? It is our own self. And then in Sushupti, if you see that Chandrasekhara Bharati's argument, he says, in Jagradavastha there are some sense objects. In dream also there are objects which are created by the mind. But in Sushupti there are no objects, but there is happiness. In Sushupti there are no sense objects, but the self experiences Ananda, and then we know it. How do we know it? After waking up, we say, yeah, I felt very happy, I had a very nice sleep, and I'm extremely happy, etc., etc. So what does it mean? It means that Atma, even without upadhis, this Sukshma Sharira and Sthola Sharira were the upadhis during Jagrad and Swapna states. But even without those upadhis, Atma is very happy. So it means that Atma by its nature is of the nature of Ananda, is of the nature of happiness. Atma by itself is of the nature of happiness. The analysis of Sushupti, why does Vedanta does all this analysis? Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti. It is to show that Atma, the nature of Atma is of pure bliss. That is, in other words, Atman's real nature is pure bliss. So that is what it says.
You said without Sthola and Sukshma Sharira also happiness will be.
Yeah.
So because you are mentioning the mind as Sukshma Sharira, so without mind also in the Sushupti.
Mind also becomes Leena. Mind also becomes Leena, isn't it? We see in the Prashnopanishad Bhashyam, where the mind also becomes resolved into that Sushupti. That mind also is not there. Mind is there in Swapanavastha. So then that is what is the connection with the tamo guna, because of contact with tamo guna, as just now we read. We are in deep sleep, and then in that deep sleep, we don't realize happiness at that time, but we realize happiness later. So which is basically to prove that Atma, even with Atma Chaitanya, is always there at all states, isn't it? Atma Chaitanya, we can't deny Atma Chaitanya there. So Atma Chaitanya, even without these upadhis, it is of the nature of Ananda. So that is what is shown there.
But mind is told as
Resolved.
Sukshma Sharira.
Mind is Sushma Sharira, that is why mind is not there. In Sushupti, mind is not there. Mind is resolved into Sushupti.
But we are mentioning mind as a Sthula Sharira also sometimes.
Mind is not Sthola Sharira.
No?
Mind is grass. There is no mind. Grass in the sense, mind is said to be Jada. But it is not Sthola Sharira. Sthola Sharira is something which is visible. Sthola Sharira means what is Sthula and what is Sushma. Sushma is something which is not visible. Sthula is something which is visible. Sushma Sharira is something which is not visible. But then mind is also said to be Jada in the sense that insentient. It is said that it does not produce consciousness, it does not produce intelligence. Intelligence is only reflected on it. It is only such a pure, say, dravya, virala taijasa dravyam manaha. It is also comes under the category of a dravya. But Sushma dravya, like your, say what we say, Trigunas, etc., the Sushma dravya. Then, after this thing, then here it is a continuation of that. Yat sushuptau nirvishaya atmanando anubhuyate shrutih pratyakshamaityhyam anumanancha jagrati. Yat, in fact, your say text division is appropriate because yat means because. So the earlier line said tataha atma sadanando nasya dukkham kadachana. Tataha, because of that. Yat is because of that. So it is connecting to the earlier previous line. Yat sushuptau nirvishayaha atmanando anubhuyate. Nirvishayaha atmanandaha. What does it mean? The bliss of Atman is not because of vishayaha. Nirvishayaha anandaha. The Sthola Sharira is not there, Sushma Sharira also is not there. But Nirvishaya, in the total absence of the objects, you are still having that Atmananda. Then how do you know that? Because we know this because in the Jagrata Avastha only. We know this only in the Jagrata Avastha. We don't know this in the Sushupti Avastha. So we know this how? By Shruti. Shruti pratyaksham aitihyam anumanancha jagrati. In this wakeful state, By all these means, we know that Atma is of the nature of Ananda. How is it Shruti? So here, of course, I follow the commentary of our Swamiji Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami, where he says, Shruti, he quotes several lines where Shruti says, Atma is Ananda Swarupa, Ya Yesha Ananda, Anando Nasyat. He has quoted several lines that Atma is of the nature of Atma is of the nature of bliss. So Shruti says in several places that Atma is of the nature of Ananda. Not only that, it is also Pratyaksham. That is, everyone knows that bliss during the Sushupti. Right from a common man, even the poorest man, to the greatest king. The greatest king may not have Sushupti quite often, but the common man who is a laborer, who enjoys Sushupti every day, he is in deep sleep. So everyone knows this bliss called Sushupti. So this is Shruti and Pratyaksha, that Pratyaksham. Then Aitihya. Aitihya means the word of elders. Aitihya, in fact, Aitihya also means Itihasam. Here we need not take Itihasam. Aitihya, we see, actually the word means Itihasa, like Ramayana, Bharatam, etc., etc. But Aitihya, we need not take that in that sense. Aitihya means any word of elders, word of, say, wise men. So Aitihyam. Anumanam. Anumana means what? Anumana does not mean doubt. Anumana, we are now referring to the logician's concept of Anumana. Anumana is what? Inference. In logic, we have got Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, etc., etc. Say all those Anupalabdhi, Shabda, etc., etc. They are the Pramanas, isn't it? What is Pramana? Pramana is a valid means of valid knowledge. Pramana is something which is a means of valid knowledge. Prama, Karanam, Pramanam. Prama means valid knowledge. Pramayaha Karanam. The tool for valid knowledge is what is called Pramanam. Pratyaksha is one Pramanam. I see something and then this is this. I know that. Then Anumana is inference. In that inference there is what is called Anumana Vakyam. Anumana Vakyam is, okay, there is what is called logical syllogism. In English we say illogical syllogism. If we see a small elementary book of grammar, say logic, there are 3 lines there. All men are mortal. So that is a statement. Then Socrates is a man. Socrates is mortal. So you take any book of logic, this syllogism is there because this is called Socratic syllogism. So Socrates seems to have introduced this in Greece. But we also have this syllogism in our own system. Gautama Nyaya Sutra, if you go to Gautama, we do not know whether Gautama was older or Socrates was older. We need not go into that. So in this our Indian logic, we have got say 5 statements. The logicians, they say what is called pratignya. Pratignya means statement. Then pratignya hetu. Hetu means the cause. Why? Then pratignya hetu. Then udaharana also. Pratignya, no. Next, third one is udaharana. Pratignya hetu udaharana. There is an example given. Like this. Then there is what is called Upanaya. Upanaya is another statement which says, oh, what we are now talking is also like that. What we are now saying is also like that. Then Nigamana. Nigamana is conclusion. So there are 5 steps in this Anumana Vakya. It is called Anumana Vakyam. So, but Vedantins, they say that all these 5 levels are not needed, 3 levels are good enough. Like what we see in Socratic syllogism, 3 levels are enough in Vedanta also. That is Pratignya. Then whether the point in now what we are discussing comes into that or not, and then the conclusion. So that is what this Swamiji also, this Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami has explained here. Here the Pratignya or the statement is Atma Ananda Rupaha is the statement. Atma Sada Ananda Rupaha. Atma is of the nature of bliss always. So that is the statement. Then Hetuhu. What is the Hetu? What is the cause? What is the reason for that? Because it is always, we love it always, above all. That is the cause. We love it always, above all. Sada Niratishaya Premaspadatvat. That is the second line, Hetu line. That is then Sada Niratishaya. Niratishaya means what? Above all, unparalleled. Above all things we love it, not once, every time, always. That is Niratishaya Premaspadatvat. That is, we love it always, above all. Then the next conclusion, that is the third level, third is conclusion, Nigamanam. Yat naivam tat naivam yatha shabdadihi. Yat naivam tat naivam tat tan naivam means yat na evam. If this were not so. If this were not so, this point is slightly difficult. If this were not so means so, not so means what? If this were not so premaspadam, if it were not the seat of love, if it was not something which is the object of love at all times, so that is what it means. If it were not so, it would not be so. It would not be Ananda Swarupa. Because it is so, it is Ananda Swarupa. Because we love it always, it is Ananda Swarupa. Yannaivam tannaivam. Yatha Shabdadaya. Like Shabdadaya, Shabda, etc., Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Sometimes they give us happiness, sometimes they don't give us happiness. So Atma is not like that. Atma is not like that. Atma is like that, not like this Vishayas. Vishayas, they give happiness at some times, they don't give happiness at all times. So this particular Anumana Vakyam we find in Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami. That is, Atma Sada Ananda Rupaha. Atma is always of the nature of bliss. Sada Niratishe Premaspadatvat, because it is always of the nature of happiness, and we love it always, above all. And then Yannaivam Tannaivam. If it were not Premaspadam, it would not be Ananda Rupa. Because it is Premaspadam, it is always Ananda Rupa. That is what is the line. So Anumanam cha Jagrati. So all these things happen. When do they happen? Only in the Jagrati. Jagrati means in Jagrada Avastha. Saptami Vibhakti. Jagrati. In this Jagrada Avastha, or in this wakeful state, we come across Shruti, we come across Pratyaksha experience, we come across the word from elders, and also we can logically also say understand, yes, that is something like this. Then the next shloka is also about, the next shloka is coming to what is called Maya. This is also another thing which we have to understand. This next shloka is Avyaktanamni Paramesha Shaktihi Anadya Vidya Trigunatmika Para Karyanumeya Sudhiyaiva Maya Yaya Jagat Sarvamidam Prasuyate. Now, Shankaracharya has so far told about Sthola Sharira, Sushma Sharira, and then he told about Sushupti, etc., etc. Then, what is the cause for all these things? We have to know what is the cause for all these things. So, that cause is now being told here. Avyaktanamni Paramesha Saktihi. Where is it all this? Where is it coming from? So, all this is coming from what is called Paramesha Shaktihi. There is some sort of manifesting power in Paramesha. Paramesha here does not mean Parameshwara. In normal parlance, when we say Paramesha, we refer to Lord Ishvara, who is having Ganga on his head, and then who is dancing, and then the dance of Shiva, etc. We are not referring to the dance of Shiva, etc. We are referring to the supreme reality called Brahman, which is totally attributeless, which is neither Vishnu nor Shiva nor something else, nor Shakti nor anything else. Shakti means not Durga. So all these things are not, no. We are referring to the pure consciousness. That is what we are referring to, and not some saguna form, not some form with, not something with a form and attribute. So that Paramesha Shakti, that is some power in Brahman. What is that? Avyakta Namni. This is Avyakta Namni, because it is Strilinga. It is Namni. It is said. Not why is it called Avyakta? Avyakta is unmanifest, isn't it? Because it is not known by the mind. It is not known to mind and senses. So that is what is called Avyakta, that unmanifest. Then Anadi Avidya. This Avidya, because it is Strilinga, Avyakta Namni. That is Anadi Avidya. That is again beginningless. It is co-eval with Brahman, as we say. Co-eval means Brahma has been, this Chaitanya Brahman is something which is Anadi. For Brahman there is no origin. For Chaitanya there is no origin. Like that, for Maya also there is no origin. It has always been there. That is why we say that Srishti is not created at one point of time. It is always there. So that is what we say. Because the very concept of Brahman means that if Brahma is there, Maya also is there. That manifesting power, Shakti, Shaktimator, Abhedaha we say. Shakti, I am having some Shakti. Shaktiman, I call myself a Shaktiman. Shaktiman means a person who has that Shakti is called Shaktiman. So when I am there, that Shakti is always there, isn't it? Shakti, Shaktimatoho, Abhedaha. When a person is there, his Shakti also is there, isn't it? Yeah. So when that Chaitanyam is there, that manifesting power is always there. So that is how this Maya is Anadi. But it is called Santam. It will come to an end. Why? Because once you realize that everything is a manifestation in that supreme, consciousness, then this Maya goes away. So it is Anadi, that is beginningless, but it has an end. But Brahman has no end. The Brahma, the Chaitanyam has no end. So here, Anadi, Avidya, for this word Avidya also, Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami gives a vyutpatti. Well, normally we say Avidya is ignorance, isn't it? Navidyate iti avidya. Navidyate, it is not seen. Navidyate, it is not known. It is not known. So that is why it is called avidya. Avidya. Then again it is Trigunatmika para. Trigunatmika. It is having these three gunas called Sattva, Rajas and Tamas as its constituents. We know that how this Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, they were responsible. In the earlier shlokas we came across that the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas, they are in their elemental form in the beginning. That is, they are also Sushma form. That is, Sushma means they are not cognizable to senses. Then again these mix up in different proportions, that Panchikaranam, etc. Then they become gross. When they become gross, then from that gross things only this whole thing, the body, etc. comes. All the bodies of all beings, they come from that sort of Panchikaranam only. And then again this mind, etc., this Sukshma comes from the Sukshma aspect of the elements. So in the whatever Vishwam, whatever scheme we see, the Sukshma Sharira is also, Sukshma aspect of elements is always there, Sthula aspect of element also is always there. So when I say this particular element is, say Panchikaranam is over, it is not as though Panchikaranam is over and all this, say, the Sukshma elements have disappeared. It is not that Sukshma elements have disappeared. It is always there. That Maya is always there. In that Maya, this Trigunas are always there in their elemental form. Trigunas are always combining with, combining among themselves and becoming the Grash Sharira. So that is what we have to see. So it is slightly complicated structure. So Trigunatmika. It is also called Para. Para means what? Above all. Why is it above all? It is not above Brahman anyway. Para, it is called Para means it is even above Hiranyagarbha. Even that Hiranyagarbha is an evolute, what we call Hiranyagarbha. The first, the principle, that notion of I, that Hiranyagarbha. And he is also supposed to be, he doesn't mean that he is a male or female or anything. That Hiranyagarbha, Shakti, the followers of Shakti, they call it Shakti. If you go to Durga Saptashati, okay, that is Shakti. If you go to Shaivite, he will call it Shiva. If you go to a Vaishnava, he will call it Vishnu. So anything. So Para is something which is above all, that is above Hiranyagarbha also. In that Hiranyagarbha only we have all the God forms. In that Hiranyagarbha only, this very, very clearly we see in Gita Bhashya also. Hiranyagarbha, the concept of Hiranyagarbha. And then all the God forms, they are visualized in him only. You call it by any name, you are visualizing in that. Para. Then Karyanumeya Sudhiyaiva Maya. Karyanumeya. Karyaihi eva anumeya. That is, it can be known only by its effects. You are not able to see it directly, but you are able to know it or infer it from the Anumana is what? Anumana is inference. Anumeya means knowable by inference. Anumana is inference. Anumeya is something which is knowable by inference. Karyanumeya, it is only knowable by inference. By what? By its evolutes. By all the things which are, seen. Avyakta is something which is not seen. Avyakta is inferred because from that Avyakta all these manifest things have come. Because we are able to see the manifest things, we are visualizing or we are postulating something called Maya. Otherwise, you can't say that Brahman is responsible for this universe. Brahma is linked with this Srishti, isn't it? He is not directly linked with Srishti. It is not as though he comes up suddenly in a form and all that. He is linked up with this Srishti through this sort of interface called Maya. So this Maya is a sort of postulate. And Shankaracharya, by this word, Karyanumeya, he says it has to be inferred by its Karya. When he says this is an inference. Maya, the postulation called Maya, is a very important point to me. This postulation called Maya is somewhat, it is a sort of, this idea called Maya is a postulation. because it is something which is derived by virtue of inference. Karyanumeya sudhiyaiva. Sudhihi means a wise person. Dhihi means buddhi. Sudhihi means by a person of great buddhi. Sudhiya eva. Sudhiya is Sudhihi. Trutiya ekvachanam is Sudhiya. Sudhiya plus eva becomes Sudhiyaiva. Sudhiya eva. Iyam maya anumeya. It has to be inferred only by a wise person. Then Maya yaya jagat sarvamidam prasuyate, by which Maya the whole jagat, all the universe is prasuyate. Prasuyate is what? Prasava. Prasava means, the normal meaning of prasava means delivery of a baby. Prasuyate means here the whole thing, it evolves. So the whole universe evolves, sarvamidam jagat prasuyate, from this thing, entity called Maya. This avyakta is responsible for the evolution of the whole thing. The first evolute is Hiranyagarbha. Simultaneously these three gunas are already there, and three gunas form into 5 elements, and the result of 5 elements is the Stula Sharira and also the Linga Sharira, and that is how the whole universe comes into existence. So this, for a greater detail, we see in Taittiriya Upanishad also. The next shloka also continues about Maya. The next shloka we will continue in the next class, because it requires some little bit of explanation. Sannapyubhayatmikano. It's a wonderful shloka. We will continue in the next class. Harihi Om Tat Sat.